You have a fiance now, right?
Yes.
She works for DOC as a therapist.
Yes.
And you met her in a prison?
Yes.
I don't think that's allowed. Is that allowed?
No, it's not, ma'am.
It is not. Is she aware of all of your criminal behavior?
Yes.
You've been open and honest about the
She's currently watching this. Yes.
Okay.
She's currently watching this right now. I've been 100% honest with her about everything and everything.
Yeah.
When you think you've seen it all, this man is serving an 8-year sentence for what he did to a 14-year-old. And yet his fiance leaves her job to get engaged to him. It's insane. And this hearing is insane. We'll jump in and watch it, and I'll unpack it at the end.
They see me? Yes. Hello.
Good afternoon. I'm Parole Officer Vasquez. Today is Wednesday, the 27th of March, 2024. This is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. The following board members are present this afternoon and by stating their names on the record to certify that they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Jennifer Zaccanini.
Good afternoon, panel member Page. Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Good
Sir,
afternoon.
Please state your name and inmate number for the record.
My name is Austin Fogarty, number 418031.
Thank you, Mr. Fogarty. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Mr. Austin Fogarty, inmate number 418031. He's serving a total effective sentence of 20 years. This is suspended after 8 years, and followed by 20 years probation. This for 2 counts of illegal sexual contact, victim less than 16 years of age, assault second degree, and tampering with physical evidence. As of today, record reflects a parole eligibility date of March 6, 2024. This is according to the RT51 query that I ran this morning. 85% eligibility is that date that I gave you. There is no victim in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender, which has been reviewed and shows that the offender has completed short-term sex treatment program, domestic violence, anger management, addiction services, voices, and expertise basis programs. He remains on the Department of Correction waiting list for education needs to be identified. That's according to the RT3M query I read. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the RT falls within the moderate range of risk for recidivism. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender's overall score for sexual offense recidivism falls within the low moderate range. All right, Mr. Fogarty, this is now your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Can I just first say, like, I'm like emotional right now, but if I falter in my words, because I'm like nervous, scared a little bit, so I apologize in advance.
Okay. Take your time. Take a deep breath.
I apologize. You know, it's okay if I read what I wrote?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I'm no longer the 17-year-old kid I was when I first came to prison. I've grown, changed, and I've become a better man. At first, while in prison, I got in a lot of trouble because I cared what others said about me and what they thought about me. And since I no longer care and stop caring what they think about me, I've been doing good. I care about evolving as a man, learning new things, being there for my loved ones, and growing as a young man in every way possible. I have immense remorse for my actions that led me to jail. I'm embarrassed by it, and I regret every second of it. I feel bad for hurting another person that should have never been hurt. I wish I could take it all back, and knowing that I can't take it back bothers me. I try my best every day to help other people and to be more mindful of my actions and my words. I've never had a chance in my life. I ask for just this one chance right now to prove that I am changed and better young man. I have a great support system and a desire to be there with my loved ones. I really miss them and hugging them. I have goals and plans and ambitions to work with my father and to go to school for my CDL license. To create my own trucking company, to merge it with my father's construction company. I plan on going to church, to the gym, staying busy, and consuming my time with activities. I would like to go to therapy when I go home to continue bettering myself. I know I have probation, and but I really need to be there for my family. My stepmother has brain tumors, lesions on her brain. My aunt is currently dying and has less than 1 year left to live with cancer. My dad has serious health conditions, and my brother just had my niece. I wish I could be there for all of them right now, and my brothers and sisters. And being away for almost 7 years now has really bothered them. I miss them and they miss me and need me, and I need them too again. I've been in jail again since I was 17. I'm no longer the same person. I beg you to please give me this one chance. That this is my first time in jail. I promise I won't mess up again. I'm scared to come back to jail. And I know you probably hear this a lot, but this is my first ever parole hearing. And I just beg you to please let me show you that I won't ever come back to jail. And I beg you, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your statement, Mr. Fogarty. We do have questions for you, and when we're done, we'll deliberate and give you our decision.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we have to talk a little bit about these offenses, okay?
Okay.
So the first one that brought you here was obviously a very serious offense with a child.
Yes.
And when asked to explain, you said that the victim was curious about sex, and that's what led to this this
Yes.
offense. But I mean, you were the older person here, and it was your responsibility
You're right. And
to keep that child safe. Go ahead.
I agree with you. And I messed up. And it won't ever happen again. And I feel terrible to put that person in trauma and to give them trauma. And I feel bad every day. Like, it bothers me a lot. And I have immense remorse. And it's not just because I'm in jail, but because I hurt another person. I know you probably hear this a lot. So I just want you to know, like, I sincerely mean this.
Uh-huh. Well, you took the short-term sex offender treatment program. What did you learn in that program?
To be more responsible and about consent, where consent, like, it was hard for me to explain, right? So consent, a person doesn't have to always say yes to be consent, meaning that just because they don't say nothing means it's consent. It could not be consent, if that makes any sense.
Did you learn anything about your triggers or risks or things like that?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. My insecurity played a big role in that. I was really overweight. And like nobody wanted me. Things like that played a factor in no supervision and just not having a whole bunch of time on my hands to do nothing. And yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your next offense, the assault too.
Okay.
Do you admit to assaulting that victim?
Yes.
So how did you end up with an assault 2 rather than an assault 3? What'd you hit her with?
Nothing, just my hands.
Okay. So why?
Because I caught her cheating on me and I was mad. And again, I have immense regret and remorse for that person. And like, that's not who I am anymore.
Okay, what types of injuries did she sustain?
I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea. I'm not sure because there was the contact thing. Because I came to prison shortly after.
And to be clear, she was a child too. She shouldn't have even been dating a 14-year-old.
Yes.
So she couldn't possibly cheat on you. She can't be in a relationship as an adult with a 14-year-old child. Okay.
Now looking back on it, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Lastly, you have a tampering with evidence. Where did you get a cell phone while you're in prison?
My clinician.
What? In the prison?
Yeah.
Why would they give you a cell phone?
So I can talk to my family more.
Why did you smash the phone when they came to try to take it from you?
I was scared. Like, not, it was really to ruin the evidence, to be honest
Well,
with you.
obviously, right. What was on that phone?
Nothing. I just didn't want them to find out who gave me it and things like that.
How would they find that out? I mean, pieces of a phone are still evidence.
So I was worried that they would go back and check the numbers of who I've been talking to and find out who had given me the phone.
Okay. Well, didn't they ask you who gave you the phone?
Yes.
And what did you tell them?
I told them I didn't want to write a statement
Huh.
because I didn't want to get that person in trouble.
That's interesting. Oh. All right. So you have a fiance now, right?
Yes.
Is she aware of all of your criminal behavior?
Yes.
You've been open and honest about the
She's currently watching
sexual.
this.
Good.
Yes.
Okay.
She's currently watching this right now. I've been 100% honest with her about everything and everything.
Yeah. And how did you meet her?
Through DOC while I've been in prison.
Okay. Can you elaborate? What do you mean through DOC?
Like since I've been in prison, I've met her. Like she was my
Right. You didn't.
therapist.
She was your therapist in prison?
Not mine, but like something like that.
She works for DOC as a therapist, and
Yes.
you met her in a prison?
Yes.
I don't think that's allowed. Is that allowed?
No, it's not, ma'am.
It is not. And is that the same person who gave you the phone?
Yes.
Does she still work for DOC?
No, she had to resign.
Okay, but I thought you didn't give up her name.
I didn't. My cellie did.
Wow, is right. So it sounds like you're still making some poor choices.
That was over a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. I've changed. I've done multiple programs since then. And like, I'm not that person anymore. And I just hope like you guys could just see that.
I don't see that. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, how do you explain all these disciplinary reports? 51 disciplinary reports.
I cared what a lot of people thought about me and having my charge. Like, it's hard in prison to have like my charge, right? So I always try being the cool person to get people to like me, because having people not like you in here makes it a lot harder on you. So by acting up and things like that, I cared what people thought and said about me, but I no longer care, and I've been staying out of trouble.
It hasn't been that long. Just last year, threatening, fighting, intoxication, contraband, flagrant disobedience. Unacceptable behavior.
I agree with you.
I mean, you knew you were coming to parole. So you should have known you'd be asked these questions.
I've never been to parole before. I didn't know what was going to be asked. I didn't know how this would go. Never. This is my first time ever.
Yeah. There's a lot here to overcome, sir. And you took the programs. So through all of the programs that you took, you should have learned to control yourself. And your tickets cancel out all your programs is basically what I'm saying to you.
I knew that was going to be one of the issues, and there's nothing I can do about that. All I can do is keep going forward.
Right. So yes, I hope that you will continue to work on yourself. And you have a long road ahead of you. You have 20 years probation, so you will continue to do programming and
Yes.
and grow from this. You know, you are young. You said it yourself. You are very young. You have a lot of life left, and we want you to be successful. So keep working on yourself. Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Like, I'm sorry again. Like, I'm really nervous. You know, I know I have a year left in prison if I don't get paroled.
Yeah.
But if by any chance you guys do see favor and parole me, like, I would ask that, like, if you guys could recommend like therapy and things like that in other programs, so I can continue to work on myself, because that is important to me. And like right now, like, I study on my own right now through books and stuff that my fiance orders me. So that's the best I could do right now. And it's hard to do really anything in here and to get the proper treatment.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Ms. Palmieri?
Sure. So, Mr. Fogarty, you've got some letters of support from your fiance, your father, your stepmother, your mother. Do you see them much or talk to them very much, your family?
So I just see my fiance a lot. My family has a lot of health issues. So it's
Mhm.
really hard for them to come up here.
Do you talk to them on the phone?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. What do they think about all these disciplinary reports?
They are disappointed at me and they are like, they know I could do better. And they say that all the time.
And you have 20 years of probation, right?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
Like, what do you think probation is like? What do you know about being on probation?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know nothing besides what other people have told me. And what in like my perception going into either parole and probation or just probation is that whatever they tell me to do is for my best interest because they have my best interest at heart. So I'm just gonna do it. And I want, like I said, to continue to grow and learn. And if they say jump, I'm gonna say how high. Like none of that stuff is gonna bother me. The programs, I actually am looking forward to that, if I'm being honest.
You've done a lot of appropriate programs, a lot of programs that should help you, and a lot of programs that should have helped you not get some of the more recent disciplinary reports also.
I agree.
I think we can all appreciate that when you go into the facility at age 17, you're gonna have some growing pains, right? But you've been there a little bit now. You're a little bit older. Our hope would be that it would have settled down. You would have sort of found a better way to manage your emotions.
It has settled down a lot. I know I just got tickets last year, but last year was like my best year I ever had. And I know again that's not an excuse, and I know it's still unacceptable. And like it's still hard with my charges, and like I get like
Well,
like it's a lot of issues.
yeah, and I'm gonna point out two things. One is you have no disciplinary reports in 2020. Do you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Do you recall what you were doing in 2020 that you would have not accrued any tickets?
I was in PC.
Oh. Okay. And you know that you have, I already said this to you, 20 years of probation. You have 10 years on the sex offender registry.
Yes.
So, and you're a teenager coming in and an adult coming out. So it's going to be hard.
And I'm ready for that. I have the
Okay.
greatest support system.
Yeah. And what we're looking for is for you to show us that you've been able to start to manage the difficulties, right? So when you come out, we're not seeing you back before us on a violation for an assault or some other kind of.
I'm never coming back to jail, and I know you probably hear that a lot, but I just wish like I could just prove to you guys, like, because you guys got a lot of things that's on paper.
Mhm.
I don't like you guys really don't know me like you get what I'm saying. Like I'm not trying to sound mean or anything, but like a lot of people that know me, they know I'm not coming back to jail. They know I'm not gonna get another charge. They know that. And in jail, yes, I get in trouble. Yeah, like I've had multiple situations since being ticket free from my last ticket where people have wiped their shoe on me and I did not do nothing. I just said, stop doing that. Like I've had multiple situations occur where I've controlled my anger. I've went about it a diplomatic, like an appropriate way. And like,
Okay.
I know you guys don't see that because that's not what on paper. Like I've had multiple things, and even things with my case and my charges, et cetera, where it still follows me. People still make fun of me. People still do all this and the third, and it makes it really hard. And I've been trying to control myself to prove to everybody that yes, I am changed. And again, I just wish you guys could see that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad that you're able to express yourself in a way that advocates for yourself. Because that's going to be very important going forward.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, Mr. Fogarty, thank you for answering my questions.
Very well.
Thank you, Ms. Palmieri. Ms. Page?
Thank you. So, Mr. Fogarty, does your girlfriend know that you, expect to have sex 8 times a day?
So what? I'm sorry, it cut out.
That you expect to have sex 8 times a day?
We've talked about it, yeah.
You don't think that that's excessive?
Yes, I do. But she's, if I'm being honest, on the same page, like
I'm
I'm sorry.
curious, did she try this with other people?
I don't know. I don't ask.
Yeah, that's so interesting, but you know, oftentimes people that are sitting in the seat that you are, they say to us that they wish that we could really get to know them, but if we did know you, we wouldn't be able to sit on your panel. We'd have to recuse ourselves because then that would be a conflict. So we have to be impartial when we're looking at your files, and unfortunately, the paper is all that we have to go by.
I understand.
So, all right, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So, I'm just going to start off by saying Mr. Fogarty clearly has a lot of growing up to do. I see a level of immaturity that's just amazing after doing all this programming. With that amount of disciplinary reports and so recent, there's no way I would be willing to grant parole. He's got 20 years of probation, so he'll continue with treatment and he'll get supervision and support with probation. But it's a deny for me for the nature and circumstance of the multiple offenses, poor institutional adjustment, and inadequate evidence of change. Ms. Palmieri?
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
I have the same reason.
Okay. In the matter of Austin Fogarty, amendment number 418031, I'll make a motion to deny parole for the reasons stated, nature and circumstance of the offenses, poor institutional adjustment, and
Please, I beg
inadequate
you.
evidence of offender change. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, sir, we could not grant you parole, but we wish you much success during your probationary period.
Can I say one more thing? I know you guys already voted.
Deny, yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys are making a mistake.
Okay.
I
Well,
just-
listen, you're done next year and you can go out there and do well and prove us wrong. But here today, you're not a good risk for us.
This concludes this parole hearing for Austin Fogarty, 418031.
Thank you. Have a good day.
I left the laughing in the end there, which I think was coming from the cell next door, but I left it there just because it might reflect how some of us are feeling. And I don't know if it's laughing in jest or laughing just in as if like there's nothing else to do. It's just so it's like what did we just see? What did we just watch? I'll start by saying that I am not diagnosing anyone. I'm only speculating on a situation like this. And for those who know, you know. But it starts off with what I believe was his fake cry at the beginning. He goes into reading his statement and he stops himself as if to reset, as if, the way that I was reading it was he was reminding himself, oh, I need to act emotional. And he starts to fake cry. And it was just at a strange time, too. It didn't really line up with the words that he was saying. It wasn't at the time when he was talking about what he did to his victim. It wasn't even at the time when he's talking about his relatives that were sick. It was at the time when he was talking about opening a business. And I zoomed in on there just so you could see his hands weren't shaking. There's no... And my only takeaway from that is, I think we might be watching a hardcore narcissist or maybe even a sociopath. And again, I'm not the right person. I'm not diagnosing. I'm only speculating, and I'm in no position to do that. But these are, and I don't normally do these things, but that's just something that stuck out to me. If you want, we can go take a look again.
I'm sorry, to create my own trucking company, to merge it with my father's construction company. I plan on going to church, to the gym, staying busy, and consuming my time with activities. I would like to go to therapy when I go home to.
So there you have it. You see, he kind of like reset and then goes in out of his whole opening remarks. That's when he chooses to be emotional. And then on that note, he like wants to go to therapy. Where do we start with this? There's something in the water in Connecticut, and I know it's not fair to base, DOC therapists because of one bad apple or whatever, but what? I want to shake that therapist. I want to take her by the shoulders and I want to say, what is wrong with you? Maybe that's the wrong words. Maybe I should just say, why? Do you not love yourself? Do you not have any insight? You're a therapist. Do you not have self-respect? You go to school, you get a degree, you then do something illegal, you date an inmate, not just any inmate, but a child molester. You give everything up on the line. You give him contraband. You then resign. I wish I had information on this. We don't. If I had to guess, the DOC wanted it to go away. She resigned. That's good. They don't want newspapers writing about this. But it's disturbing. And it just makes one wonder, how is it possible? How can someone be so blind? How can someone be so self-destructive? Human nature is bizarre. It is. My understanding, again, from this case is that he had two underage victims. One, it's not, Richard put in the notes that there was at least multiple, and I thought that they said that they separated two, the board members separated two, and they brought up the sexual assault case, and then they brought up as if it was another victim. It might be the same. It's not clear to me. But he's dating a 14-year-old. His reason he gives, of course, she wanted to know what sex was like, so I taught her. And then she was cheating on me, so I beat her. And it wasn't a regular assault 1, 2, or 3, but it was an assault 2, which made it more severe. And that's why they asked. They thought there must have been a weapon involved. And they probably have information on it that they're just trying to see how honest he would be, but it's not clear to me. But, he goes on to say, oh, I don't know how bad it was. I went to prison soon after, which, please, okay, sure. But if you get the 2, it's bad. If you get in Connecticut 8 years, it's bad. You get 20 years with 12 years suspended. So he has 12 years, my understanding, on probation. And for Connecticut, it's got to be bad. What he did has got to have been so, at the age of 17, for them to really, what we've seen in Connecticut, throw the book at him. Because we have seen people do worse to infants. We have seen people do worse and they get 5 years. They get 4 years. They get, a couple of years. And you just don't see it. The idea that he would still even say at his parole hearing, oh, I did it because she was cheating on me. And I like that the parole board said, you can't, she's not, that's not consent. What are you, this? And then you find out that he has 51 tickets, write-ups. And those of you who aren't familiar with tickets, write-ups, 51 is a lot. 51 is an exorbitant amount. I mean, we have seen people in the toughest and roughest prisons in Angola not have any write-ups for 30 years in prison, or on the high, they might have 20, they might have 51 is, I think, probably in the top 1% that we see. And that's just over 8 years. And he was in prison much of the time in protective custody. Just in the past 12 months, they read off like 6 or 7 or 8 write-ups, including intoxication, in Louisiana, they wouldn't have even had his parole hearing. They have no write-ups for 12 months as like a policy. And then, so they talk about the phone. And they say, why did you break the phone? Who gave you the phone? And I wasn't sure if the parole board didn't know, again, what happened, or if they were just being clever in their wordings to see how honest he would be. I can't figure that out. I don't know what you think. But what I thought they were alluding to, because they kind of led him. And they said, well, they act surprised. They said, wait a minute, your therapist is your fiance? And I do wonder if they were really surprised or if they were just leading him, as they do sometimes. And then they said, okay, well, then why did he try to break the phone? Oh, who gave it to you? And he's like being, trying to dodge the question. And finally, okay, it was my prison therapist. Oh, he's the one engaged. Is that? And then she said, well, I thought that you didn't tell them who gave it to you. And he said, no, I didn't. It was my cellie. And I think that she was almost trying to hint to the therapist that he ratted on her. Again, I'm just speculating. For some reason, that was my takeaway. But it wouldn't make a difference. I mean, you could probably give this therapist everything in black and white and, video footage of him doing horrible things, and she would just make up excuses for him. Because something's missing in her decision-making ability. It's scary to think that kind of, oof. It's scary to think that she might have a job somewhere else. It's like one of those situations where, again, they tried to sweep it under the rug. It's like those stories maybe where like a nurse is fired for doing the wrong things. You hear about these hospitals all the time. They're not really fired. They're just let go. They don't report it. They don't want to have to deal with lawsuits. I just almost wonder, imagine if she's like a therapist for some other state department or for kids or for something. It's just, that's scary to think. Someone has no business giving therapy to anyone. And this case is so crazy. It's like I almost forget about the idea that he is a 14-year-old girl victim that he was sexually assaulting and then beat up so severely that he gets this sentence. Like, where's the DA? Of course, there's no DA. It's just a child, right? And then the hearing, it goes on. They have somewhere in the notes, for some reason, he admitted this in writing. They said, does she know that you expect to have sex 8 times a day? This is the person that their algorithm marks as a low chance of sexual recidivism. A person who who does this to a child, beats the child, it seems may have multiple victims, tells someone in DOC that he wants to have sex 8 times a day and doesn't even realize how And then he goes on to say, yeah, she's the same way anyways. And they're like, has she done that with anyone else? Which is an interesting question. It's like, man, I mean, you know, they're like, there's something in the water. There's something very wrong with this and what we just saw. And then he's getting out no matter what in a year, right? So his full term date's coming up next year. And then at the end there, right, when he says, oh, please don't, he's so lost. He doesn't realize how bad of a hearing he is. He actually thinks he has a chance. Then he goes to like pleading with them, and then he has to have the last word. It's like if you needed any more reassurance that this guy is so souped up on narcissism or something else that he has to have the last word, you're making a mistake. It's like, dude, can you unpack that for us? Can you tell me how this could result in a mistake? What good is being taken away from the world because you have to sit in prison for one more year? What mistake is happening? I have a feeling that we are going to see him again. And when we do, we'll do his revocation hearing. And man, it's not going to be a surprise. I only hope that someone is not hurt even more than he has hurt others. This is one of those cases where it's just, this is scary. And if I do find any more information, if Richard finds any information, we'll share it. But for now, or with that, I'll let you go.